if you were to look at the United States and put ourselves as a declining power and China as an ascending power, then we would think, well, we won 2 world wars. We created the post-war order. We spend the most money on defense of any country. When we want to win, we can, and therefore we should downplay China. It's not going to do anything. It couldn't hurt us. Maybe they have regional interests. If you were Carthage, you would think that way. If you were analytical, you would say to yourself, wait a minute, we're 36 trillion in debt. We're borrowing $1 trillion every 100 days. We have 45,000 people short in the military. The military is being torn apart by DEI, and we're alienating the demographic that dies at twice its numbers in Afghanistan and Iraq in the general population. We have our blue state model is collapsing, where people are fleeing it. Our cities are full of crime. Our campuses are no longer preeminent, as we're seeing with these. And we have to be very careful, because China has an agenda. We think Xi is a nice guy, but if you look at what he said and his new alliance with Russia and Iran and North Korea, they would like to emasculate the United States. And they're building nuclear weapons much faster and ships much faster than we are. And they have nearly 5 times the population of the United States. That would be a realistic assessment right now, but we don't hear that. We just hear, well, we're the United States, and we're the cultural capital of the world, and we're the wealthiest of anybody. But when you actually look at the fundamentals, people don't say, well, let's look at our energy sector. Are we the greatest producer of gas? We could be. Our food sector, are we supporting farm and food production? We could do that. Or is MIT and Caltech and Stanford and Harvard, Yale, are they the most empirical, disinterested, rational places in the world? Well, they could be that. And so it's self-inflicted, this decline. And so there are people in China, if you said to America, there are people, Joe Biden said there are friends. If a president said these people want to destroy us and that's their agenda, and we better rearm as fast as possible, nobody would believe that. They would think he was a warmonger or she was crazy or something.
Well, yeah, and I mean, that's the thing that's most fascinating to me. You know, we have Xi Jinping saying we are waging a people's war against America. I mean, it can't be any more clear than that. And it's very public, and of course, the entire Chinese public knows this, because it's kind of replayed in the propaganda, you know, mouthpiece media and so forth. But somehow we're not aware. And that's exactly the same thing with the Aztecs. When Cortez set foot in that city, Montezuma's brother said he's a killer. He's not a god. He's a killer. He bleeds. He eats. He defecates. He likes to have sex. These people, they're killers, and they're going to destroy us. And he was not listened to. And the same thing people told the emperor, and the emperor himself of Constantinople, last Byzantine emperor. He looked at the situation and he said, the Sultan is not like his father. He wants to destroy us. He feels that we're an irritant and we're in decline. And a lot of people didn't believe him. And it was very hard for him. He tried to marshal help from the West. But if you looked at the United States today and you said, nobody in the Cold War killed 100,000 Americans. China, by giving fentanyl and knowing it will be processed by cartels and walked across an open border, we can kill 100,000 Americans. And these are not suicidal and drug addicts. These are, in many cases, kids that go to a party and they want to take an Ativan or Valium or something, and they're disguised as fentanyl. And they're killing 100,000 people. And you would think that a half century almost after Reagan talked about Star Wars, and American technology has been so successful in creating the Arrow and the Iron Dome systems in Israel and the Patriot batteries, that in this dangerous world, we would spend a portion of the defense budget with a complete dome over the United States and our territories. We have Hawaii, we have Alaska,
We have islands off the coast. We could protect the continental United States from an attack, but you don't hear that. That would be provocative or a waste of money. So it's the same laxity. And if you say today, as I've said to people, there's 300,000 plus Chinese students studying here. If just 1% were espionage, that's 3,000 people. And they're wholesale taking technology and bringing it back to the mainland. We know that. We had a professor at Stanford University, a neuroscientist who was a member of the Chinese People's Liberation Army. And the Confucius, so we know all of this. We know that we have over 150,000 Middle East students. Many of them are actively promoting a Hamas Hezbollah line. They're here in the United States. We know we have no idea of the 10 million, but it's almost like the historian Libby said, that the proposed medicine, when you think about it, would be worse than the disease. And that's when a society reaches paralysis. They just can't marshal the will. They know what they have to do, but they feel, I don't want to be called a racist. I don't want to be called a xenophobe. I don't want to be mocked by the EU. The International Criminal Court would think this. And if we made it, I don't want to be made fun of like Reagan, Star Wars. All of that comes and stops people from doing what they know has to be done.